Hey there. Thanks for hanging out with K-Dubs and listening to the podcast. Much appreciated. Check us out on YouTube. Shoot us an email. Let us know how we're doing. Hanging out with kdubs@gmail.com. And as always, enjoy the next episode. Really figured out what everything does. I'm like, oh, hey, if you move this, it makes things louder or softer, or, there's a cough button and a mute button. And I'm like, I don't need to know all that crap. You need to cough, just freaking cough, whatever. We're not Joe Rogan here.
No. Someday.
Well, you never know. I mean, I think it'd be cool as hell.
That would be.
To be that kind of, to have that many viewers and listeners.
Right.
That means you're talking about cool shit, and that means people are interested in that cool shit.
Meeting route, like, crazy people from all different places.
Yeah, exactly. Like and that, I'm kind of doing that now.
Yeah.
Just on a low spectrum.
Right.
When you get people brought in here, like I said before, we know each other, but we don't really know each other.
Right, yeah. Acquaintance.
So, exactly.
Yeah.
So this is a good idea. This is going to be fun to sit down and shoot the shit and see what's new. But Andrew, thanks for coming.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Did you have a wonderful day trimming trees today?
I did. Every day is wonderful. No. Yeah.
Every day you wake up, it's a good day.
Yeah, still sucking air, so it can't be too bad.
We'll get to the tree trimming stuff a little later on, but the one thing that you brought up earlier that we need to talk about.
Yeah.
And so since you know the whole story, since it's you, why don't you tell us when? So I'm assuming that was right out of high school. That
I was about 20.
So you were 20 when you moved out west and started working on.
Well, I went out there when I was 20 and got a job for neighbors drilling. And it started off as I'd work for 14 days on out there. And then I'd drive back here for 14 days and then go back and forth for a while.
And that's an oil drilling.
And that's oil wells, yes.
Oil wells.
Yeah, in North Dakota, Montana.
So you were traveling back and forth 2 weeks at a time?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, God.
Yeah, it was like a 12 to 14-hour drive, depending
on where you were at?
Yeah. Yep. So it was a long drive. It got old.
Yeah. I've been to Billings, Montana.
Yeah, that's where I lived.
That's where you lived, was
when
Billings?
I moved out there, yeah. Yep.
That's more than 14 hours, though, isn't it?
That's where I lived. I didn't work there.
Oh, gotcha. So when you were living out west, you were in Billings, but you might have moved to South Dakota or North Dakota or wherever that you needed to do.
Right.
Wherever the drilling.
Wherever the rig I was working on was at is where you would go. So.
Okay, so you're going to have to take this from the top because I know jack shit about oil drilling.
Okay, yeah. No, there's
literally jack shit about it.
Yeah, there's a lot to it to do it.
Oh, cool. Yeah. I'm listening.
Start
informing me.
Basically, you got a rig and you get it all stood up and, stand the derrick up, set your top drive up. I worked on a top drive rig for the majority of my career. They have Kelly rigs, which are a little different.
Okay.
But
so a top drive rig is what?
So a top drive, the top drive is the drill itself, essentially. And it makes up all the joints of pipe and stuff on the wellhead.
Okay.
Whereas a Kelly, you have to do that all manually with tongs, and you have a Drawworks, which runs your top drive up and down, and then, which is basically just a block and tackle with like 1 7/8 cable.
Holy hell.
Yeah, and the Drawworks is usually around, it can be anywhere from 1,200 to 2,000 horse. So, yeah, because you can be pulling a lot of weight. Like, string weight could be 700,000 pounds at times if you're getting in tight spots. And that's just in North Dakota. So, it's a lot of weight.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
So what, do they have like two, 3 diesel engines to make that much horsepower, or do they just have one big mother?
We had 3 3512 cat gens.
Nice.
Yeah, and that's what, it was a diesel electric, so a DC rig.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And then that would power your top drive, mud pumps, and all your other. There's a lot of shakers and there's a lot of things.
So what's a shaker do?
So, what is your drilling fluid goes down the hole or down through the center of the pipe, and then it comes out of your bit. So it's basically lubrication.
Okay.
And holds your hole open.
So it doesn't collapse on itself.
Correct, like hydrostatic pressure. So.
Gotcha.
And then when it comes back over through your BOP and then down a flow line, they call it, to the shakers. And the shakers shake the fluid. You got little tiny screens on them, and that shakes the fluid, falls through, and the solids that you're drilling fall off into a 3-sided tank. And then you have solids control, and they have a loader, and they have fly ash, and they mix it off, and then have trucks come and dispose of it.
What's fly ash?
You know, they mine it. I know that.
Okay, all right. It's a mineral or something then?
Something like that, and it hardens almost like concrete with the material that's being drilled up from downhole.
Gotcha. So when you're, how many are in the crew? I mean, how many are on a shift when you're in your crew?
So there's usually 5 guys on a crew. There's a driller, derrick hand, motor hand, and usually 2 floor hands. And then you have a tool pusher, which he's there. He stays on location all the time. He's like the manager or whatever you want to call it.
And then you said that you were 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off.
Yes. So 14, 12-and-a-half-hour shifts. And then every other 2 weeks, you would alternate from days to nights. So it was nights.
That kind of sucked, didn't it?
Nights sucked. Terrible. Hated it.
I know a lot of people that work nights, not on an oil drill or an oil rig or anything like that. And there's some people that absolutely love it, though. I mean, they love getting up at, 5 o'clock at night and having breakfast and then, screw off for a few hours, then bam, go to work, get your 8 hours done, get home, and the sun's coming up.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I can kind of see the appeal why that would be awesome, but I can also see the appeal like you're living in darkness forever.
Yeah, especially in the wintertime in North Dakota.
Oh, God.
A lot of dark and cold.
So you guys were year-round then, huh?
Yeah. Yep.
Holy what kind of drill bits do you got to have to dig through frost? I mean, I'm sure frost is the least of your problems for what you're drilling for.
Yeah. They're PDC, polydiamond crystal, is what we used. And it's actually really hot down there. Super hot. Like the drilling fluid, when you're drilling with OBM or oil-based mud, it's basically 80% diesel and 20% salt water.
No kidding.
Yeah, and you'll come out of the hole at 210 degrees. I mean, it's hot.
That's
Burn
the
the
oven.
shit out of you.
That's the oven.
Yeah. Yeah, you had to be careful.
Well, I think that's what my truck runs. The engine temperature is about 210 degrees. How big were these diamond?
Well, there's all different sizes, So when we would drill surface, we would start with, I think it was 13 5/8 hole. And we would drill surface, which was usually down to about 2,000 feet.
Okay.
And then you would pull that out, and you would get casing, basically to hold the wall. Hold the wall. You run the casing, and then you have like Halliburton or Schlumberger come, and you concrete around the hole, like between the casing and the actual earth, and that's how you maintain your well control through your.
So you were drilling 13 5/8. So your casing wasn't 13 5/8 then?
No, it was. I think you set that casing was.
It don't have to be
I
specific.
want to say 11-inch.
Oh, so you got
or 9 5/8. I can't remember.
So you'd have like 4 inches of concrete around that, or
yeah,
3 to 4 inches of concrete, approximately 2,000 feet deep.
Yeah, depending on hole wash and all that stuff.
Right, and then once you got to 2,000 feet, did you get to a smaller bit then?
So then you would put on a 7-inch bit, and then we would drill intermediate, they called it. So we would drill that down to about a kickoff point, which was come up by geologists and whatnot. So usually around 10,500 feet, say, right in that ballpark. And then we would drill a curve. So we were going vertically down.
So you're drilling like 2 friggin' miles deep.
Yeah. It's pretty, yeah. That's
that's
Bakken.
pretty cool.
That's
when you think
Bakken,
about it.
That was the formation we're drilling, is called the Bakken. And so then you'd start drilling, you put a mud motor. Well, you always had a mud motor on. That's how you steer where you're going. So your hole just doesn't meander off. You can keep it straight up and down. And then you drill your curve, which is basically where you went from vertical out to going horizontal or laterally.
So these drive shafts are not just straight up and down then? To what runs the bit? So what runs the bit? So you got
right. You make up the bit to, it's called a mud motor, and it's got like, I don't know, it's probably not quite a 45-degree angle at the end of it.
Okay.
And then right above that, you have a MWD tool. It's measuring while drilling, and that tells you your azimuth, where you're at, which way you're facing, and which way your hole's going. And then you can counter steer it by that mud motor has think of it as like a PTO shaft.
Okay. Yep.
So your pipe might be spinning like 45 RPM, where your bit's spinning
a lot
faster than that. And
gotcha.
All through your drilling fluid.
What's the RPM of them drills run? Do you know?
Like the bits?
Yeah.
I don't remember, but
I'm just curious.
It's substantially faster than what?
What
45 RPM. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, sir.
So anyway, you get down there, and then you make your 90-degree angle.
Mm-hmm.
Your hole. Now that are you at the top of the crude oil then at that point, or are you on the bottom of it, or
you kind of want to land? They have a target, is what they call it.
Yeah, target location.
I think the Bakken is about 10 to 20 feet wide is all.
Oh,
and there's just little pockets of oil all over. That's just where the word fracking comes in. So you're not really just like drilling into a big pool of oil.
Correct.
But you obviously hit them as you're drilling, and you can tell when you get your returns at your shakers, your drill fluid will be like, it's green, like a lime green color. The crude is. It's kind of, yeah. It smells like kind of sweet. They call it sweet crude up there.
Okay. So what was your job when you were doing all this?
I did everywhere from floors to drilling.
So you did it all.
The whole nine, yeah.
So when someone called in sick, you were the guy.
Yeah. Well, you weren't really allowed to do that.
I'm sure probably not a lot of people called in sick.
No.
I mean, having 2 weeks off every 2 weeks is kind of a pretty sweet little deal.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I missed that. But there was extremely high turnover rate, about 60%.
Really?
Yeah, we'd go through people like crazy.
And why do you think that is? Just from the hours or the
hour? You're out in the middle of nowhere.
Which can be a good thing and a bad thing.
Right, and it's, I don't know, I'd say it tends to be a rougher crowd. A lot of people. There's a lot of stuff you can get into up there. You
didn't get any of that. You were straight and narrow. Church on Sundays.
Nose to the grindstone. Just work. I'm here to make money, nothing else.
How long would it take you guys to drill one?
So when I first started up there, I would say the average well was around 22 days. And then towards the end of my stint up there, we were doing a well in 13 days.
Whoa.
12 days. And we were drilling anywhere from 20,000 to 24,000 feet in total.
Oh.
Yeah.
Holy smokes.
The technology just in that 9-10 years just
changed.
Got that much better. And yeah, so I've been on a well for 70 days. Not straight, but come back and forth, and we're still on, like, if you had problems.
What kind of problems, besides breakdowns? Did you ever run into, here's a diamond bed here, something like that?
I always looked, but I never did see anything cool come over the shakers, but a little oil here and there. But your drill pipe, you might twist off.
What the hell do you do then?
Yeah, then you call the fishing crew. That's what they call them. And they bring all sorts of different tools so that when you're fishing, that's bad day for
everyone.
Yeah, because it's constant tripping of pipe, which is pulling it out of the hole and putting it back in, and you dink around and try to grab it. Well, this ain't working. Pull out, and you trip it all out and change it up, and yeah, I've done it a couple times, and it's not fun. It makes you think about quitting.
Hence the high turnover rate, right?
Yeah, hence the high turnover rate. Especially in the middle of winter when it's 30, 40 below. It's long, cold nights.
Especially when you're doing nights, too.
Yeah, terrible.
I can't imagine that being a whole lot of fun.
No. I mean, it had its all right times, but that brutal cold up there is not fun, ever. I don't remember having any fun in the cold like that.
Because I'm sure you guys probably ran your asses off when you were drilling, too.
So, sometimes, like when you're fast holing, we could drill when we were doing the intermediate, which is the vertical hole. We would drill a mile in a 24-hour period. So that's a lot of, each joint of pipe is approximately 30 to 32 feet long, sometimes hair shorter. And then you take 3 of those joints of pipe, screw them together, and that makes a stand of pipe. And then that's what you drill with approximately 90-foot sections.
So you'd go up 90 feet, drill down 90 feet, raise it back up, put your next stand in.
So while you were drilling that 90-foot stick, we had a mouse hole, they call it, and you would make a stand in that. And then, drill that stand down, grab the one out of the mouse hole, stand, top drive, pull it up, and then make up to it, screw into it, and then
we go for another 90 feet.
Another 90 feet.
What's that piping made out of? Do you know? I mean, is it?
I don't know what kind of steel it's made out of, but pretty hard steel.
It's gotta be.
Yeah, and they even, on top of that, they put hard bands on it. So you have a tool joint, which is where they make up together.
Okay.
And then it slims down a hair, and then they hard band it to keep it from wearing out from laying on the hole sides. So.
And what I mean, I'm following you what that is, but what is that? What is that hard band? Is it a piece of steel that goes around with a lock and key?
It's like they weld it.
Okay.
And it's like a hard facing.
Gotcha.
So
gotcha.
I don't know if you'd be a Magnaflux or something like that.
No. Yeah. They're hard facing is perfect for it. Yeah. What you're saying is once they put them together, they just put a little bead of weld around that bad boy.
Yeah, about
and then
2 inches wide all the way around.
Yeah. Then that makes sense. Because that's where your weakest point's going to be.
That's where you're getting all your wear. Yeah, yep. 90% of it.
Yeah, because once you get past that point, then it's smooth sailing for the next 32 feet or whatever the case may be.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. How many, so you guys just dug the wells then when you were out there?
We would just drill them, run the casing.
Sorry, drill them, dug them. Jesus Christ, Kyle.
Same difference.
Here, have another beer.
Yeah, we would drill them, and then we'd case them, concrete them, and then fracking crews would come in, and you bring in a little workover rig, they call them, and that runs all the tools down and sets off the frackers that, like a spider web. Shoots. Actually, a lot of the sand came from, by Toma and Warrens.
Really?
Yeah, because of the consistency of it worked well with those frackers. And then they'd shoot that off with explosions into the formation, and it would crack or spider web it, and that would allow the oil to seep
down,
up, down, from side to side into it, and then pull it out.
Suck her out.
Mm-hmm.
They got to have some pretty big well pumps or oil well pumps or crude oil pumps or whatever the hell it is to suck that shit down from 10,000 feet.
Well, there's so much hydrostatic pressure, and there's natural gas down there and whatnot. It actually will push itself out.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That's some fascinating stuff.
I was talking about a BOP. You have to maintain a certain mud weight. So say, what's water, 8.34 or whatever?
Something like that, yeah.
Well, we would drill with usually around 9, 8 to 10, 4 mud, just to hold your hole open and then you constantly got gas wanting to come in. Well, it holds the gas back.
Oh.
But we did a little bit like of under balance drilling, so you're letting some gas in. But if you let too much gas in, you
collapse that wall or something.
Well, no, you'll get the gas will come in and it'll push all of your drilling fluid out of the hole, and you're about fucked because that's when your rig catches on fire and burns down. It's called a kick, or that's a kick, and then a blowout is like I don't know if you've seen Deep Horizon.
Yes,
that's what
great movie
can happen. Yeah, it's a good movie.
It's a good movie.
It's fairly accurate on a lot of things.
Really?
Yeah.
I was assuming it was. I didn't. Is that one based on a true story?
Yeah, that was the big BP story where them guys were getting indicted or going to prison for that, and yeah, there was a big deal.
It's been a long time since I've seen that movie, but yeah, I mean, if that's the one that's based on a true story, I'm like, well, a lot of the stuff they're talking about's got to be legit. It cannot not be legit. I mean, I know sometimes in Hollywood they got to make it Hollywood, you know, but at the end of the day, I was like, some of the stuff that they're actually talking about. I remember when they were inside that oil rig and there was like 5 of them standing around there talking about what could happen, this could possibly happen, and I was like, I don't think that stuff's made up. That's probably pretty realistic stuff.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's a dangerous thing, kind of. It can be.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't know what the hell you're doing. And even if you do know what the hell you're doing, sometimes shit just happens. Like, yeah, it just happens. So you got to roll with the punches or come up with a plan B or a plan C, or if you got to go all the way to Z, you got to come back with double A's, whatever. Shit just happens.
Yeah,
you don't want to see it happen that way, or you don't want to see anything bad happen. It's just the way that it goes.
Right. Yeah, there's not a whole lot of stopping it when it. I mean, if you're not ready for it and it's just a surprise, but most of the technology it has, because the driller paid attention to 90% of that stuff because you're running it.
So what stuff do you got to pay attention to then?
So if you're
pressures and things like that,
pressures, torque, your return flow, like if you're pumping, say 100 gallons a minute or whatever, and you're only getting 30 gallons back per minute, where's that 70 gallons going? Well, there's holes and fractures down there, voids.
Yep.
So you're losing mud fluid. Well, you got to have so much on hand to keep the system rolling. So it's, yeah. And if you're pumping 100 and you're getting 200 back, well, you know the well's kicking at you. It's pushing out more than you're putting in. It's not good. You have to shut it in, they call it, and start taking pipe pressure and all that. There's a lot to it. You actually have to take a class. It's like 2 or 3 day class. I did it in Casper, Wyoming, I think both times, but it's called Wild Well Control. There's a John Wayne movie about that. There Will Be Blood, I think it's called.
Oh, man. There's so many freaking John Wayne movies. Silverado's about the only one I know.
Silverado, yeah.
When you, so let's just say you're at a job, you drill it, cap it, it's done. So obviously you've got to tear down and head to the next site, right?
Yeah.
How long would it take you to tear down and set up? I mean, if everything went right, obviously.
If we had a real good rig move, we could move it. Say we were going 5 miles away. We could move it 2 days. Rig down to rig up. We call it nipple up or nipple down to nipple up, which is you're basically setting your BOP up. That's when you're nippled down, so the BOP's not on the wellhead, you're on Neighbors, the company I worked for's time. They don't like that because so say we were drilling for Oasis Petroleum. Once we got nippled up, pressure tested all the BOP functions and whatnot, all the hard lines, mud lines, all that stuff, then you went on to Oasis was starting to pay your day rate.
Gotcha.
So they always wanted that rig move to
quick as possible.
Hurry up, yeah. Because then
tear down and nipple down, nipple up as quick as possible.
Quick as possible. So I think the rig rate for ours was, I think our rig was made in like 1960s. It was old brake handle rig.
Really?
Yeah, it was big.
That was my next question I was going to ask. Is like, obviously you have modern technology, but the equipment that you're using is not very modern. Is what you're telling me?
Not the rig I was on. They had they call them, well, for neighbors, they call them like B rigs, or X rigs was kind of like their style.
A team. Oh, I was like A team and B team.
No, just the newer rigs compared to the older ones, and those were all the driller sat in a cabin and in a nice chair, and it joysticks and little toggle switches, and
You didn't get any of that, huh?
never did drill on one of those. Just the old, they call them a brake handle rig. So, which basically you're out there, and you got air clutches for your drawworks to go up, down, run your cat heads, and then you got this about a 5 or 6 foot bar. It looks like a big crowbar, or a 5 foot bar, say. And that was your brake, and you had big brake bands on your drawworks, which is just basically a big drum that spools and unspools the cable, and that to your block and tackle that runs your top drive up and down. So, yeah, you just jam it, and it was loud. Just all when you're drilling and tripping. Yeah, very noisy.
Would you ever go back do it again?
Maybe once my kids are grown.
Maybe.
I like being around them every day.
Yeah.
I kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, someday I'd like to go back as like a consultant or a directional driller. That's kind of a cush job, and a company man in North Dakota was making anywhere from $1,200 to $2,800 a day per day.
Holy crap.
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah,
but you probably got to know your shit too.
Now, back in the day, yeah, absolutely. Nowadays, you get from the office, whoever the oil petroleum company may be, and they have a bunch of engineers in their little offices, and they write you up a well plan, and that's what you do. You follow that well plan. If you have any issues, you call the office, and they'll kind of make a plan for you. Maybe not every company, but a lot of them.
So with modern time comes with also modern jobs as well. You got to have your engineer, and you got to have your consultant, and you probably got to have your I don't know, your captain or whoever was out there, lead foreman maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, there's all sorts of, there's a lot of chiefs and not a whole lot of Indians out there,
It seems to be that way in America, period, right now.
Yeah. Everybody wants to be the boss, seems like.
Well, and then nobody wants to work.
No, not physically.
No.
They just want to tell someone what to do.
Or, hope to God they win the lottery. Or, I hope I win the lottery too, let's be honest. But
yeah, me too.
You just go around and look at all these, for hire signs everywhere.
Everywhere.
It's like you're telling me that there's nobody to take these jobs?
Yeah, I don't get it.
Is everybody getting funded by the government that much they don't need to go work a full-time job? Because this guy ain't one of them guys, and I don't know how the hell they're doing it, but teach me your secrets.
That's what I want to know, is how can I stay home and do what I want every day and have enough to pay
support
all my bills and support what my kids do and what me and my wife want to do?
I agree. I totally agree.
Teach me.
I want to learn.
Yeah.
It's just so weird, the economy and shit that we're in right now. I don't get it. I really don't. And it seems like, technically I'm a millennial, but I'm on the very the end or very beginning, whatever you want to call it.
What's before us? Gen X?
Yeah, I think it's Gen X. Yeah. So I think if you were born in like 1986 or something,
okay,
you were Gen X, and 1987 became millennials. And I was born in 88, so I'm like, I'm right there. It's just like, fine, call me a millennial, but I think we grew up in a pretty cool time.
Yeah, there was none of these electronic phones, iPads.
When we were kids, we still had, our parents were still, work hard, get to work on time, respect your elders, all this kind of stuff. And then, in the late 90s, that's when, the first cell phone came out, and it was this freaking big
suitcase.
No, I'm talking like actual cell phone that you could stick in a pocket, and the antenna was sticking up like this, And then and there was video games and stuff out before that, but then Nintendo really showed up, and then Sony showed up after that, and then why the Y2K and all that kind of stuff, and then we've seen cell phones go from something that you literally push a button on to make a cell phone call, to now having a computer in your pocket. I mean, we lived in a pretty cool time.
Yeah, and the information that you can access at your fingertips. I do like that aspect of them. I really do.
Oh, if you've seen my Google search, you'd be shocked. We'll be sitting there at work talking about something. I'm like, I don't know. Let's Google it. We'll just Google it up.
Yep. So Google it.
I Google friggin' everything.
I do too. And a lot of things.
Just because it's like 20 years ago, you couldn't do that. 20 years ago. 25 years ago, you couldn't do that. You had to go onto your computer with the dial-up internet, Yep. Exactly. You had to wait 10 minutes until that thing connected. And then you get the yell from Dad, hey, I'm expecting a phone call. Get off the internet.
Yep. Oh, yeah. I remember that.
Oh, God. We lived in it. But, I think that's why, in my opinion, people our age, we're pretty lucky. Because we got the old mentality of work hard, do your job, things will come good. The good things will come to you.
Right.
But we also have that mentality of, hey, I know how to work a computer. I know how to do email. I know how to use my Google to look something up.
Right.
Where people that are even 15 years older than us, they struggle with technology.
Yeah, they do.
No offense to you guys, that's just the truth. Okay. I mean, some people get it, but if you're 50 years old, 55 years old, I mean, your first cell phone was when you were 30 or 25. Well, by that time, you were already, what the hell's a laptop?
Yeah. No, my granddad, he's one of them. He doesn't even have a cell phone. So, but his wife, or my grandma, she's got Facebook. She's got probably Snapchat. And
he's all I don't really give a shit about that. She's like, oh, we get to keep in touch with the family this way. We get to see what everybody's doing.
That's it, yeah.
Which is also scary.
Yeah, no, you gotta watch what you put on there.
Yeah. Podcast is pretty much what I put on there on my Facebook and Snapchat. I mean, there's a few things, I like to reach out and talk to a few people. Facebook, I like to reach out to people. I mean, obviously, that's why you're here. This podcast episode is sponsored by Dan's Diesel Performance. If you're looking to improve your truck's performance, efficiency, or appearance, check out Dan's Diesel Performance. They manufacture turbochargers, fuel injectors, fuel pumps, transmissions, intake piping, and much, much more. Plus, they offer all the top brands in the diesel industry. They're located in McChesney Park, Illinois. Visit their website at dansdieselperformance.com or give them a call at 815-977-5865. Yeah. Holy cow, we got off topic there for a while.
Yeah.
So, let's see, where were we? Oh, yeah. You left well drilling or oil drilling because you're like, why?
So,
I mean, you don't have to go into complete detail unless you want to. I don't really care, but
it's nothing bad. It was like 2016, and it was kind of crashing. So
the oil
field was really slowing down, and I wouldn't have lost my job, but our rig stacked out, which stacks out means that the oil company that was using us no longer wants us, and no other oil companies picked up that particular rig. So
you were at a standstill.
They call it stacking out, and basically all they do is break it down and pile it in the field somewhere. That's all they do. Weld the doors shut on everything. That's it. Leave it. And then, so I went to a brand new rig. I think it was X25. It was like one of the newest rigs out there. And I worked there a little while. We were working for a bigger petroleum company, and they were kind of a pain in the ass with safety rules and whatnot. I didn't care.
God, I didn't even think about that. You guys probably had to wear specific clothing and gloves and goggles and hard hats all the time, didn't you?
Impact gloves, hard hats, safety glasses, we had jumpsuits, FR. So, I mean,
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, there's also paper. Do you know what a JSA is?
JSA
Stands for Job Safety Analysis. So they would every morning there was a safety captain, and he'd go into the computer and he'd print out like 40 pieces of paper every day, and everybody on the crew would have to sign off on it. It's just retarded. Like, we made one to be silly about making coffee. Just
make sure it's plugged in, but don't touch the 3 prongs that the electric comes through.
Right. You'd say how to do it, what dangers there were involved with it, and how to mitigate those dangers. It was just so silly. But yeah, so safety was getting real bad, and this kid just got married, had a kid, and he's like, man, he knew he was going to get laid off. So I was kind of bored with it. So I said, you know what? I went in and talked to the main boss, and I'm like, you should let him keep his job, and I'll take the layoff for a while, because I was a good, doing fine. And he's like, you sure? I said, yeah, that's what I want to do. And so, yeah, I took a year or 2 off, and I was living in Billings. I went to work for a guy building houses and doing concrete. Oh, we kind of did it all. It was just me and 3 other guys. It was kind of a change of pace.
Yeah, smaller construction company, basically.
Yeah, and I did that for a year or 2, and then went back to the oil field again I went back to Neighbors and drilled for a little while longer, and it was on a new rig. I wasn't drilling, I was working derricks, and then my buddy I'd worked with prior to when I took a layoff was working for a different company down in Gillette, Wyoming, Cyclone Drilling. So I'm like, they paid more.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it's all about the money. So
get you that green.
Oh yeah. I went down to Gillette, Wyoming, and I worked on that rig for, I don't know, it wasn't probably 8 months to a year, somewhere in there. And then me and my wife were talking, and we were talking about moving back to Illinois. And well, that's what we did. So I quit working out there. I got a job at a mine in Bartlett, Vulcan Materials. And then, yeah, moved back, and here we are.
Here you are.
Yeah.
That's kind of a cool story, though.
Yeah, I'm glad I went out there. You got to see, I was just kind of, young, dumb, didn't know much about nothing. Stayed in the whole same spot my whole life. You meet a lot of interesting cats around the world.
Yeah, and you don't even have to move away to see that, right? I mean, you take a week vacation somewhere,
right,
and look at the local life,
yeah,
and you realize, like, man, the world is very different,
yeah,
but very the same in everywhere you go.
Yeah,
I mean, you got your poor people, you got your rich people, you got your fancy cars, you got your shit cars, you got all awesome people. And then you got just some shit dickheads that you don't want to deal with.
Yep.
And that's everywhere. But it's cool because it seems like if you get out away from the bigger cities, life just slows down.
Way down.
Yeah, it slows down a little bit. And people tend to be a little bit more happy. They tend to be a little bit more relaxed. They tend to be a little bit more chill. Where you get into the city, it's just go 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 go. I mean, we gotta hit the train. We gotta jump on the train in the morning to get to the job by this, so I can walk my 3 blocks to punch in time, and then on the way home, we'll take our time then. But it's just go 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 all the time, and I kind of like it out here in the country where it's a little bit slower
docile,
going.
Yeah. That's. Even living out in Billings, which was a big
That's
city.
a big city, really.
Yeah. And my brother and a couple buddies came out to visit one time. So we'd go out to the taverns, and, they're playing, like, some of the rap music and stuff, country music, all that stuff that we used to listen to in high school. They're playing this in the bars, like, right now, like, it's like new, but It was funny. My brother's like, "What is this?"
That song's 5 years old. What the
Yeah.
hell are you playing that song
Yeah.
for?
This was popular like when we were in high school, but it was just kind of one thing I noticed.
It's just fun the way it goes. I mean, it's just definitely interesting to get out and meet new people in different aspects and walks of life. It
Yeah.
just really is. So you moved back here. What are you up to now?
Well, I was working at Vulcan Materials and didn't really care for that place too much. So a buddy of mine started a tree company, and we would talk a little bit here and there, and then we kind of just came up with an agreement on a
deal?
a deal. Yeah, and that's what I've been doing for the last 2 years,
Good for you.
and I like it.
Do you?
I do. I'd enjoy it.
What's your main job when you're there? You the one climbing all the trees?
No.
Oh,
I don't
come
do much
on.
climbing. No.
Put them cleats on. Put them harnesses on. Away you go, right?
No, we'll leave that to the pros. I'd stick to the bucket truck. Hydraulics.
Yeah. Don't have to wear the legs out so bad climbing up and down, right?
That's it.
Do you guys do, I mean, obviously you're tree trimmers, so, I mean, anything over houses and buildings and businesses, you guys can go up, trim them trees up, and
Yeah, there ain't a tree out there I don't think that we couldn't handle. We have all the equipment. We got
what about redwoods?
redwoods? Well, there's none around here. I'd like to try one once. Then we'd have to get a bigger chainsaw.
Yeah. that is my goal someday is to go out and see that, because
Yeah.
I want to go see them forests, because those things are, I mean, just I know that I've only seen pictures of them, but god dang, I can't imagine what them things look like in real life.
I couldn't either. It's funny. I was talking with a buddy, and we were talking just last weekend about maybe in the fall driving out there just to see them before
Before they're not
there, or
Yeah.
before we're not here, something like that.
Do you guys got chippers and all that kind of stuff too then?
Yep, we have 68-foot bucket truck.
Holy hell, that's
chipper.
you can go up there quite a ways then.
Yeah, there's not too many trees that you can't reach around here. I mean, sometimes there's some.
Some of these oaks can get pretty big.
Yeah, cottonwoods, and they get real tall. You get some big elms. You know, they all kind of after the years get big old bases on them, but yeah, them cottonwoods get real tall.
So you use a small chainsaw then? Do you have a professional one that you use or something like that?
Yep, we use all
Steels?
Yeah.
Yeah, they make a hell of a good product.
Yeah, they do. But we were using Husky a little bit, Husqvarnas, but I didn't really care for them too much.
You know, the thing about steel is especially over the last, say, 6-7 years, there's a lot of steel dealers in the area.
There is, yeah.
Yeah, Husqvarna, no offense to them, but there's just not as many of those around. In order to find parts and availability and stuff like that, it's really hard to find that stuff, especially if you have, you know, a saw that's older than 5-6 years old.
Right.
Then it's really hard. Where steel, I mean, I can think of half a dozen that are within 25 minutes of where you're sitting. I can think of 5 or 6 different dealers that are steel. So you have a problem, you call one up, and oh no, we ain't got that. Okay, call the next guy up, and oh yeah, we got that set on the shelf. Perfect. You can run up and get it taken care of right away.
Yeah. And like our best people we deal with, seems like for steel dealers, is Lincoln Reynolds. They're really good. You buy a saw and they messes up, you take it in, they fix it, they give it back to you, and no charge.
Way you go.
They're handy to deal with.
Shout out to you guys.
Yeah.
Lincoln Reynolds.
Thanks, Lincoln Reynolds.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a little biased. I used to work for the John Deere dealership here in town, so I'm a little biased when it comes to that. But because they've taken care of me on anything and everything that I've ever needed.
Right.
I mean, so I can't complain there. But
they sell steel there too.
yeah, every John Deere dealer is a steel dealer.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I mean, like I said, you can go to DeKalb in Rockford, and you can go to Midstate up in Janesville, and you can go to HW in Hampshire and Harvard.
Yes.
Johnson Tractor is also a steel dealer. The Case
Janesville
dealer
and Harvard.
Yep.
One. Yeah.
Yep. And then I think Woodstock somewhere over in Woodstock. I don't know if it's Ace or something over there, but they're a steel dealer.
Most
And then
Aces,
Lincoln,
Farm and Fleet.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, there's a ton of different places you can go where if you have something that screws up on a job, hopefully you can make some phone calls and be up and running in a couple hours. Where Husky, it's like, crap, what am I going to do here?
Nicholson Hardware is where you got to go.
Call Nicholson up, and if they don't got it, well, I guess we're ordering a part. Throw that saw away today. We'll grab something else.
Yeah.
But now, as far as steel goes, I mean, I really think they make a hell of a product.
Yeah, especially some of these electric fuel-injected saws they got now.
That's so crazy.
Power.
Oh, I know.
Dude, right now.
They just started that. The electric ones, they've had them out for probably 6-7 years now, but now they're putting steel. Last I knew, they come out with the two, so like a 352 or a 462 or whatever.
Yes, I have one,
and those have technology built into the fuel systems on those.
Yes,
and I guess that's a whole different bad boy of a saw, from what I understand.
It's night and day. I have it's not mine. It's Tree Services.
Yeah.
It's a MS 462, and Brian just got it the other day. That's
a saw, huh?
That's bad mamma jam. A lot of power. It's 2 poles, fires right up. It's a nice saw. I use it every day.
Is that got a 25-inch or a 28-inch on that?
24-inch, I believe.
24?
Yeah.
They must change that up then.
They might have. Maybe it's 25. I don't think so.
They don't matter.
They don't matter.
Yeah, at work, we got a 311, an MS 311.
You like it?
Yeah, we got a 20-inch bar on it, so there's plenty of power there for it. And it's not too big and bulky and heavy, so if you're using it for 2, 3, 4 hours at a time, your arms aren't killing you when you're all said and done. Where you get into like a 462 or something like that.
Yeah, a little heavy.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to be a little bit, you're going to man up to run that for 4 or 5 hours. But like that 311, that's a pretty nice little saw for what it is. And that's kind of middle of the road.
Yeah.
We also have a 660 there too, just in case if we get a big tree that falls that we need to cut up. That motherfucker I'm scared of.
Really? Yeah, we have 2 of those.
God. When you get to a 36-inch bar on there, that just tends to make me a little more cautious. I mean, I run it, don't get me wrong, and she runs good, but...
That's the thing, though, them bigger bars like that, when they kick.
They kick hard.
They kick hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what makes you a little nervous.
I hit my arm with a chainsaw the other day. First time ever.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Don't tell me it was with a 16-inch bar.
No, it was with a 14-inch bar, or 12-inch. I was using the topper up in the tree, and I cut a branch and kind of felt something on my arm, like, what was that? I kept going about my business, and I looked down. I'm like, blood poured out my arm. It wasn't bad, just a nick, but
could have been worse.
Yeah.
Do you wear safety equipment and stuff when you're up there in the bucket?
I wear gloves. That's about it. Gloves, maybe some sunglasses.
Yeah, you gotta have. I mean, I always wear glasses when I'm chainsawing.
Yeah.
Your eyes are too important, in my opinion,
Yeah.
to fuck that up.
Right.
Nowadays I got hearing aids, man. Your hearing goes to shit. Put a hearing aid in, away you go.
Right.
I mean, for all the folks out there that disagree with me that have hearing aids, you're right. But I'm just making a point here. You take an eye out, you can't just put a new eye in and see out of that bad boy ever again.
That's it. That's all.
That's all she wrote. You only got 2 of them.
Right.
You got to make them count.
That's the truth.
So you're literally the tree trimming guy then. I mean, do you guys do much climbing then? Trees?
You'll get in some backyards, residential areas where you can't quite get a big truck in there. And yeah, you'll do some climbing. But most of the time we can get to where we need to use the equipment.
Which is perfect. I mean, you don't want to be climbing a freaking 60-foot tree or whatever to try to trim that up over that's overlaying over a house or something like that.
Right. Brian got a new piece of equipment. It's they call it a grapple saw truck. It's got 70-foot boom on it as well. So it's like basically a crane on the back of a truck, and you put a head on it. It's hydraulics, and it's got a grapple, and it grabs the limb, and then it's got a chainsaw bar on it, cuts it, Just swing it over and put it.
No shit.
Yeah, it's a bad mamma
That
jamma.
is cool.
Yeah, it's sweet. It saves us a lot of work.
Oh, I can imagine. Otherwise, every time you friggin' cut a piece, I mean, you probably have to cut them in sections that you can handle when you're in a bucket truck.
Limb-wise, we do a lot of roping before we had that. So you basically set a D-ring up in the tree somewhere, a good stout spot, and then you got a guy on the ground, you got a rope, you tie it on, you cut it, there's a guy on the ground running it, the rope to let it down easier or whatever, and it just...
And he unhooks it and
then he
brings her back
it
up, and you got her again.
Yep. And that was it's very time-consuming, but with that new truck...
Oh, man, that's going to you guys are going to love that.
Yeah. No, we do.
Hell, I'd love one. I don't even have friggin' trees around here, but I'd love one.
Yeah, he goes some days and he sets up air conditioners on top of buildings. He goes sets signs with it, sets trusses. Does it all. It's pretty cool.
What's the name of the business?
It's Minahan's Tree Service.
Minahan's Tree Service. I'm assuming they're on Facebook. And
they are on Facebook.
They got their own website up there, do you know?
I don't know.
I'll have to look at that.
Yeah.
If it is, it's popping up right now. Do you guys local area?
We generally do, Belvedere, Rockford. We come up this way a little bit, Poplar Grove, McChesney Park. All as long as it's within reason.
You're in the local area.
Yeah. Yep.
So any of my people over that way that need trees done, give them a call.
Yeah.
Because Andrew might show up at your place.
Guarantee I will. If there's a job getting done, I'll be doing it.
Oh man. Oh, what else do we want to hit? So we got the trees, we got the tree thing, we got the oil thing. Oh yeah, you're a outdoorsman too.
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoy the outdoors.
You thoroughly enjoy the outdoors.
It's one of my favorites.
Deer hunting is probably your favorite, huh?
Deer, elk really gets me.
Elk.
Yeah.
So you've been out. So I'm assuming you were elk hunting when you were out west.
Yep.
Bow?
Not any. Since I moved back here, I don't, because I just draw for a rifle tag. If I'm going to spend all that money to go out there, and I'm going to use a rifle.
Hell yeah!
But I have bow hunted them. I never did get one with my bow. I missed one with my bow.
Oops.
But I've shot a few with a rifle.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're a big animal.
They're a big animal.
Have you ever?
No. I'm not much of a hunter myself. I'm more of a fisherman.
Okay.
I want to catch something I can't see.
Yeah. There you go.
So the bigger the fish, the more I'm like, yeah, I got lucky today.
Oh yeah.
But don't get me wrong, hunting's got its own plethora of things that can go wrong.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, whether it's your equipment that's not handling right, whether the wind's not in the right direction and you're in a certain spot and you don't need to be in that spot, you need to be in a different spot. Maybe that animal is just on their game.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe you're just not. I mean,
that could be it.
There's so much that can go wrong when you're hunting. I don't care if it's a rifle. I don't care if it's a shotgun. I don't care if it's a bow and arrow. I don't care if it's a crossbow. There's so much that can go on. The animal still has the advantage as far as I'm concerned.
They have superior senses by far, and they're in it every day.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
What I like about it, trying to outsmart them in their own house.
The challenge.
The challenge.
Yeah. And that's where I'm at, with fishing. It's
yeah.
Okay, here I am. I can't see underneath the water, right? But there's got to be something here. Yeah. So, and I'm kind of past, the worm stage. You can catch some, nice sunfish and stuff like that with worms. I'm like, no. Give me the big boy.
Yes.
Give me the daddy that's sitting down there that only eats once in a blue moon, because I want him.
Yeah.
And so now I got to figure out where he's at, what bait I'm using, fake bait, real bait, whatever the case may be, and then try to catch that.
Yeah.
I'm in.
It's challenging.
It's very challenging. And now the difference is now you bring that to the surface, right? Where the fish can't see me and I can't see them. But now you're dealing with an animal, whether it's an elk or a deer. Their hearing is 5 times better than yours. Their smell is 20 times better than yours. Their eyesight is 10 times better than yours. And yet you need to outsmart this animal to shoot them, especially if you got a bow and arrow or even a crossbow. You want to be 50, 60 feet away
Yeah.
and you want to outsmart them, good luck, dude.
Yeah, it's tough.
Don't fart when you're up there because they're going to smell you.
Yeah. Well, and then when you're hunting in the mountains, the thermals are always changing, pushing your wind up, down, around. There's a lot of variables.
Jesus.
But elk hunting really gets me. That's because I don't have any private land to hunt, so it's all public land, which I find that more thrilling because it's
me versus everybody else.
Yeah, and it's basically who puts the work in because where I go, there's a lot of elk, but it's a special draw area, so you can cow only. So I see a lot of bulls, which not a lot, but see them more often than cows. But this year I drew a bull tag.
Cool.
Yeah.
So you're gonna go. Hopefully, when are you going out there?
Yes. Yeah. I'm gonna go for 2 weeks at the end of October.
Good for you.
Yeah. That's what I did last year.
You need to do me a favor. If you shoot one, I want to buy like a pound of ground elk.
Should have told me. I got a bunch in the freezer.
Do you?
Yeah.
Shit.
It's good.
God damn it.
Yeah.
I want to have some elk burgers one day.
They're real good. I like elk. Some may call me crazy, but very comparable to beef.
That's what everybody tells me. I've never had elk.
Yeah.
I don't know a whole. I know of one other person that goes every year elk hunting. Other than two people, and then you obviously have gone out there elk hunting. But it's expensive. It's an expensive hobby.
It is,
especially when you live in Illinois.
Yeah, but it's just something I love doing, and don't know how many opportunities I'll get to continue doing it. So I eat it up while
Give
I can.
her hell.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yep.
Have you had much luck around here deer hunting the last couple of years?
Yeah, been all right. I shot a dandy of a buck this last
good for you
gun season. Yeah, right around here. And yeah, it was.
Yeah, I don't need no specifics.
Oh yeah, I can't tell you secret
nobody
spots.
ever tells those.
But yeah, it was the biggest whitetail I've ever got.
How big was it?
It was he was 11 point, but I think we tried to dink around and measure him. I don't really know how, but I'm just kind of YouTubing it.
Yeah, girth and length,
tine length, and sweep inside, outside.
Yeah, and then there's the perfection. If they're not perfect, then you ding.
Non-typical.
Then you ding them if they're not.
Deduction.
Yeah, deduction. That's the word I'm looking for. But I was thinking of from one side to the other if it's not perfect, and I'm trying to think of the word of that, but I can't think of it right now. But yeah, so what did you think it scored? Or playing around?
Playing around. It's like a 150, so not astronomical.
I'm still hoping young.
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah. So it was.
Did you shoot with a bow? Gun?
No, gun.
Yeah.
Shotgun.
Nice.
Yes. Yep.
They're around. There's some
here.
dandies around.
Oh yeah.
My younger brother, man, he lives for this shit.
I seen his deer.
Yeah,
it was a beauty.
He's got a couple of them over the last couple of years, but man, he goes out. I mean, the other day I think it was it Sunday? Sunday. It's like 5:00, and I'm like, man, I'm getting ready to eat. He goes driving by, and he's got the seed in the grass and the bag on the back, and the hose and the rakes. I mean, he's up there making seed plots,
yeah.
and it's like, well, I suppose if you want to bring them to you, that's the way to do it. Yeah,
give them something they can't get anywhere but there.
Exactly. So I mean, he's avid about it, and he's got whatever. I couldn't even tell you if he had probably got a dozen different plots in the area. I don't know.
Yeah, but
if you want them, that's how you bring them to you.
That's it, especially around here.
And a little luck, too. Gotta have a little luck.
Have some luck. Luck's always a good thing to have when you're hunting.
The biggest deer my older brother shot was funny because I'm going out hunting. This is quite a few years ago. He went out in the stand, and Dad was picking corn and drove right up to a stand, waved at him from the combine, and he's like, you asshole. I'm trying to hunt. 30 minutes later, he shot the biggest deer he ever shot with a bow.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So you just never know. I mean, a little bit of luck, and if you're doing the right things and you're sighted in and you're ready to go,
yeah,
maybe you shoot the one you want.
Right. And like my dad always says, I'd rather be lucky than good. Because a lot of it is luck.
Yeah. But you got to be prepared for it, too.
You do. You have to take some time. You got to practice a little bit. You got to, take time, make shooting lanes, hang stands, food plots if you got time.
Exactly.
If you got the want.
If you got the want.
Yeah.
What's more over there, the want or the time? Both.
The
right?
time is usually missing. That's the problem.
Yeah. Everybody's so busy, between the job and your family and all that kind of stuff. It's like, man, it's hard to drop everything and just go out and do that,
Right. And in the fall, the days are getting shorter. So if you're working 6 to 4 or 5, you're about out of daylight by the time you get home, get all your stuff.
Yeah, because you sure don't want to go out and sit in the tree stand smelling the way you smell after a long day.
Well, I smell like wood most of the time. Maybe a little two-stroke, but...
More two-stroke than anything.
Probably, yeah.
You'll get out in that stand, that deer's going to whiff you and go, what the hell is that? Smells like two-stroke. There's a dude here that was chainsawing all day. I'm out.
Yep. See ya. Yeah. So, yeah, it's time.
And they're smart. God damn deer are smart.
That nose can't fool it.
No, you really can't. You can fool their eyes, you can fool their ears, but that's that smell. If you're not perfect, they're going to get you.
Yeah.
And they go.
See ya. Yeah. That's what I like about it. It's substantially better senses than you. I mean, really, we just go off sight. You might hear a twig break, but other than that, it's basically sight.
Does your heart get pumping when you hear a twig break and you turn around, it's a fucking squirrel running through the yard? Or next to your tree stand?
It used to, and now I just assume everything's a squirrel.
Ooh, that's a good way to look at it.
But sometimes it bites me in the ass. 'Cause stupid squirrel, and then I look down, like, shit, it's right there.
Oh, man, I can't
Trying
move
to grab
now.
your bow. It's like, screwed.
Looks like they were smarter than you at that point.
Exactly. Sound like a squirrel. Yeah.
Well, we've been talking for over an hour now.
Really?
Yeah.
You were right. Went by faster than one would have thought.
So fast.
Yeah.
But thank you for taking time out of your day. Come out and hang out. And
thanks for having me.
Tell your stories. And
yeah.
It's awesome.
I appreciate it.
You've lived a fun life. You know that, right?
So far, so good.
Yeah. And now the next 35 years or 34 years, you're going to have watching the kids grow up and
it's
all sorts of fun stuff.
It goes by fast, man.
God, this first 35 years has just flown by.
Ever since I got out of high school, where's the time gone?
Oh, I know. It's like hard to believe I've been out of high school for freaking 17 years.
Yeah, yeah, I've been 16, so it's
like, wait, what? I still feel like I'm that 24-year-old stupid ass,
Right? Yeah. No, it just flies once you get out of school. I feel like.
God, it just doesn't. Yeah, and everybody tells me the older you get, the faster it goes.
That's what I hear the same thing.
So I'm looking forward to it. It should be fun.
Yeah, keep banging away.
Hell yeah. Well, thanks for coming out, brother.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Talk to you.
Yeah, you too.